inappropriate. That's inexcusable. That I don't forgive.
Remasculate!
Aloha, mud babies, pod people, and inhabitants of the planet Earth. It is I, your tiki leader, Steve Mudflap McGrew. I'm back. You know, I've been thinking about it. Do I need to change the start of this? Do I need to change the whole, Aloha, mud babies, pod people, and inhabitants of the planet Earth? Do I need to change all that? We've been doing this for a while. You guys like that? Or should I change it to something new? Because, sometimes change is good, but I know a lot of people hate change. So I'm just asking you guys, is it time for a new Remasculate opening? Comment on that. All right? Okay, the reason we're really here is the podcast. That's right. It's time for another Remasculate podcast. And I am excited about this one. I recorded this, you're going to get this, I recorded this over a week ago with a comic named Collin Moulton. We were working a ship together, and we were going to do, he has a podcast, and I have a podcast, and we were going to do a joint podcast. So I said, do you want to come to my room and use my equipment? And he goes, no, let's come to my room. I've got just studio equipment. And he was right. He had like radio station mics. I have them here at home. That's where I am now. I'm at home because I'll explain this to you. I had to wait to do this when I got home. So we recorded it at his room on his stuff. And then we forgot to do an intro about hey, you're listening to the Remasculate podcast. And he didn't do his intro. So we just started talking, and then we kind of remembered we should have said, hey, you're listening to the podcast. So it's a lot of fun. But here's the story. We recorded it on his stuff. I took it back to my room. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this hassle where you cannot remember your sign-on password to your computer. Because my computer updated to Windows 10 and it has a sign-on. And I totally forgot my sign-on. And then you have to sign on to the internet to check your password or request a new one. Well, I'm on the ship, and to get on ship Wi-Fi, you have to be on your computer to get to the browser to put in the password for the ship Wi-Fi. So I was locked out of my computer for over a week. So I waited till I got home. I got home last night, so I'm doing this first chance I get. So anyway, being locked out of your computer is a pain in the butt, Windows 10. But I reset my password, and hopefully it will not happen again. Hopefully. Let's just say that. Hopefully. But then I came down here to the home computer. I almost forgot the password for the sign-on this one. Too many passwords. And they won't let you use the same ones again. Sometimes you'd like to just go, okay, I haven't used this in a while. I'll bring this back. And then you can rotate 5 or 6 passwords. No! They're constantly you need a new password. I don't want a new password. But here's a new podcast. Sorry to ramble on, guys. Here's the podcast. It's Collin Moulton, comic, jiu-jitsu expert, meditation guru. He will enlighten you and make you laugh and make you think. We had fun. I hope you do too. Here's Collin Moulton.
Yeah, let's sing Dixie real quick and get this thing started. I'm with Steve McGrew. We're going to sing Dixie. All right, check one. Yeah, that's good. Hopefully it's not too overmodulated. I don't know. I'm not going to.
No, obsess. I did this. Did you see the video that I put up? That was what that was.
You're on.
Okay. This is a video that I did the other. We got to play this close. Oh, I hate when they want. I hate.
Hold it up.
Well, I will, but you got to skip the ad. 1, 2.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Steve's video.
Oh, I wish most folks
We're so gall darn rotten, always mad and mostly spoiled. Rotten, walk away, Democrat. USA, where I was born and I changed my
We're gonna
mind.
feel it for Steve
And
McGrew.
Republican, walk away, Democrat. Oh, I wish I wasn't a Democrat. I do. Oh, Democrat, you don't have to live like that to live and die a Democrat. Walk away. Don't waste your life a Democrat.
Nice. All right. Welcome, Steve McGrew.
That is a video character that I do on YouTube called Tucker the Trucker.
Yeah.
He is the yin and the yang. I do these two characters. Liberal Larry is oh my god, Trump's destroying the planet. And then there's the guy. I'll tell you what's wrong with America. So that I try to give both sides so nobody goes, why are you like this? Like, no, I'm giving.
Yeah,
it's comedy. It's comedy, folks.
And it's all comical. It's like we're a cartoon of our former selves.
Right.
We've been talking about this the whole time. We've been hanging out this week. Steve and I are on a cruise ship, an unnamed cruise line, and on an unnamed ship. And
in an unnamed body of water.
Yeah. We've signed non-disclosure agreements.
Have you ever, put on Facebook, hey, I'm at such and such restaurant, and then 5 minutes later somebody's sitting next to you?
No.
I have.
No way.
Yeah.
This is so weird. I want to talk. This is what I put in. I have a couple of notes on things I wanted to ask you, but that was one of the things is you have a big presence on the internet because of, I'd say political banter, but the give and take of it all right now.
Yeah.
And you've dove in, you jumped in both feet and so now you have a bit of a presence. So this is something that happens?
Yeah. It's like I actually quit doing that. Having breakfast at such and such. Facebook will tag you or Twitter will put the exact
Put
location.
a pin, yeah.
And somebody be like, hey, I saw you posted on Facebook. You were here.
Really?
Really? Yeah. No, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So you have some real followers.
Yeah. And the political thing has gotten me, and I'm not real political. I'm not political on stage at all.
Not at all. That's what I was going to ask you.
Not at all.
Wait, okay. So before we get into that, is it internet trolling that got you? When did you start getting involved on videos, at least on the internet, being political?
Right after the very first when Trump won the election.
Yeah, and you saw the mayhem.
I saw the mayhem, and I made a video of pretending to be a liberal crying because Trump won and it's over and we're going to have to get jobs and
because it was a little cartoony.
Yeah,
the reaction.
It was a little cartoony.
Yeah, we were all weirded out. But
that video went viral and got 10, 15 million views.
Yeah,
and even got more than that because what I found out later, as I didn't know this, is that people can share your video and then they get the video counts.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Donald Trump Jr. shared that video, and it was getting his counts. So, but that put me in an area where people knew who I was, and oh, are you, this and that? No, I'm not. But I realized I was reaching more people than Hollywood ever gave me it.
In talking to you, I've found you to be very open-minded about everything. We're able to discuss things at a really honest level, and we don't necessarily agree about certain things, but we're able to debate them and talk about them in a way that's constructive, where we hear each other.
Right, because you and I both are give and take people. You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah. So as you get into this on the internet, so did you find you were maybe being mistaken for somebody who isn't?
Yes, and I think that's the characters that I was just telling you about. Yeah. Depending on who follows which one, they get totally into that character. You're right. We need to make the South great again. Well, that's not really what that's not really what the character.
We're gonna rise again.
That's not really what the character was about. It's a parody.
That was my question. Was does any of that make you uncomfortable?
No, people have asked me that before because why do you allow that? And to me, I didn't say it.
Yeah.
And isn't it just exposing them?
Well, yeah, and you're maybe just creating a platform where everybody can come holler.
And if you start saying I'm going to delete that person or I'm going to take them off, you're as bad as anything else.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to, become Twitter. No, you can't post. Facebook.
They just took off Alex Jones as of a few days ago, and it was a concerted effort among many platforms, social media. So they had to conspire to do that, and then they gave him kind of an out. From what I understand, he still has his app.
All right, the app, and this is the other thing on our video about this. The app is number 3 as far as the apps.
Yeah, it blew him up.
But if you look on it, it says 1, 2, 4. They 3 must be offensive. They don't even list his app.
Is that right?
In the column, yeah.
Wow. So I think they actively censored him.
Right. And my buddy Gavin McInnes, I don't know if you know Gavin. He got banned from Twitter yesterday. Suspended. Totally. He texted me last night. Totally, completely suspended. If you go to his account, this account suspended, and it was basically because he was saying. The Proud Boys are not going to be part of this thing in Washington, D.C., and blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of been in trouble before with just being conservative, just being a vocal conservative.
How did you meet him? Did you meet him through this stuff you've been doing online?
Yeah.
So before you didn't know these guys.
I didn't know a lot of these guys. And we've all become sort of connected and friends because you post or they repost this or they liked you. And this is going to, a lot of people hate him, but Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah. Well, he's a little silly, but he's cool.
Oh, I love him.
I mean, he's interesting because he's saying something, but I don't know. Yeah.
I just finished his book, and he's a conservative gay with a black boyfriend.
Yeah.
That, you can't say I'm homophobic. You can't say I'm racist.
Yeah.
Debate me.
He does incite. He does intently incite, which isn't necessarily the best way to get a discourse going, in my opinion, but that's not his opinion.
Well,
so whatever.
I discovered him first.
Yeah.
And I contacted him, and he sent me his cell number, and we chatted. I was going to get him on the podcast, my podcast.
Yeah.
Which is where this will end up, too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're just going to...
we're going to co-podcast?
Co-podcast this thing. And Milo turned me on to Gavin. And so I hit up Gavin and said, hey, Milo said. And Gavin, oh, Milo said, yeah, here's my number. And I've had Gavin on my podcast a couple times, and we just sort of got in that group of we can't just be told what to say or think anymore,
Do you find that your views have changed, become more conservative or less conservative based on doing all this? Because you're interacting with a lot of hate too. People are really coming at you hard because of what you are making fun of.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily you're not even really saying your own views half the time. You're just making fun of people being silly.
I'm making fun of both sides.
Right.
It's comedy. It's what Saturday Night Live used to be.
Do you feel like it made you more conservative? Hearing all this, or less conservative?
I think it just made me more vocal. Not either one. It's kind of like you and I were talking before. Is I believe in right and wrong.
Yeah.
And so that's why you and I can have these conversations. And I'm like, I'll go, you're right. That is wrong.
Right.
And
it's simple.
And I think I just had to start calling out people. I had to keep saying, no, that's wrong. What you're saying is not factually true. And so it just made me more vocal and not I'm a conservative, because I don't do that. I'm not on stage doing it. I don't walk around the ship going, why are you wearing tie-dye, you damn hippie?
Yeah.
That kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't take issue with other people's life choices.
No.
Yeah.
As you know, I don't care if anybody's gay. I don't care whatever.
Yeah, you did make fun of my pants.
I did make fun of my pants. But that's called humor.
That's also called observational skills.
Yeah.
I'm wearing tie fisherman pants.
Yeah.
In public.
But that's just something else that I've taken heat for from some of the conservatives that follow me. Is I say that I believe I love God, guns, and my gay friends. That's a saying that I put out on Twitter.
I like that.
And because we're all the same.
Well, if we're honest, we are.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of gay friends that vote for Trump. That honestly voted for Trump. That they said, he's doing things for us. He was one of the first ones that, I
feel like it's almost like rhetoric or echoes if I say this, but do you feel like the void in the voting market or the American sensibility when the election came around, that the void was created by a whole left where Bernie Sanders was? You feel like a lot of those voters, I mean, there is an argument that a lot of those voters were like, we do want the political machine to stop. We do want a guy in a broke down car doing this, that, and the other, and kind of being honest.
We just don't want a politician.
We like the Bernie. We don't want a politician.
We don't want her.
And then they bought out the DNC as now is becoming
proven.
more and more proven.
But then again, like you said, they prove it, but why aren't they going after it?
Right. Well,
you know what I mean? That's the thing that bothers me.
That bothers everybody.
You proved this was bad, so how come you're not going after her?
But just a sec, that aside, because this is where the arguments begin, is when somebody's like, well, wait a sec. Yeah, not even answering the Bernie thing, like people will say, but she did this. Yeah, but obviously that's the argument none of us like, right?
Right.
We want to hear the answer to, like, well, okay, so, but still, are some of those people that wanted the change Bernie was going to bring, did they go, well, screw it then, Trump?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of that, but I think what happened in whole was people were trying to take down Trump from the beginning. And all the stuff was like, well, if you support Trump, you're a racist. So when they did the surveys, people weren't saying they were going to vote for him. I think there was a very quiet.
They were ashamed. There was a lot of secret voting for Trump.
A lot of secret voting. They just went, yep,
for sure,
doing it because I
don't
want
something crazy. I voted for Ross Perot back in the day.
Me too.
Did you really?
Too. No, yeah. He was actually. I got charts
out of the box.
I got
thinkers.
charts. And if you don't balance your budget at home, how can you balance this?
It was common sense.
It was just,
style, and I thought that's something we've never had. Let's do that.
Well,
I was young enough to think, let's roll the dice on this guy. I was young, so I didn't know all the other ramifications of a political system being run by a maverick, what that would look like.
Right.
Yeah, which is where we are now. So I think, right?
Oh, yeah, I think somebody that just doesn't want to play by the rules is there now, which Ross Perot was at the time.
Is it fair to say that, like?
Let's stop there for a second, because a bit that you do about board games, I didn't know it had rules.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of what Trump is doing right now. Like, I'm playing this by my board game rules.
Yeah, he just took the Cheeto and the whatever leftover game piece and made his own.
I got a shoe.
Yeah,
and I got the car from Life.
You get to roll 3 times in a row. What? No, once.
Yeah. You go, nope, because that's the way they've been doing it, and I'm not doing it that way anymore.
You ever watch little kids argue over a game while they change the rules around and make new rules and all that?
Oh yeah.
That's what it looks like, man. It looks like a bunch of probably 7-year-old boys, 6 or 7-year-old boys, playing in the front yard a game that they made up.
Yeah,
that's really what it looks like.
But the end is still a winner. The end of their game is still there's a winner involved.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
But they're playing by their rules,
right?
But there's still going to be a winner.
Well, they're all going to win because they're all changing the rules every time they have the ball. That's kind of what happens in my front yard.
That's all. Everybody's a winner.
I'm just saying, not in a positive way.
Yeah.
But that's what happens in my front yard. My son and his buddies, the neighbors, and they were, the neighbor kids would come over and they'd be playing, and I'd hear them arguing the whole time.
Red Rover.
You can't do that. They'd be playing some sort of weird mixture of basketball or football and soccer that they made up, and then they got these rules that are hard and fast that they just made, and then somebody else gets the ball. No, you can't, because you got to do this, and
It's like my brother and I used to do full contact wiffle ball.
Yeah, you made up a thing.
You hit the ball, but then you could tackle the guy before he got to first base.
But the rules then would change during it, right? Yeah. And so nobody had any sort of sense.
No, you can't tackle him to first base, only second.
And why did that rule get made? Because somebody tackled and you didn't like it because you got tackled.
Yeah, because I didn't make it to first base. That's crazy. You can't score if you can't even get on base.
That's what happens. And I feel like that's where we're at now, where we're like, well, wait, you can't do that. Because you have somebody in office now who's never... he's obviously he's not playing by the regular rules. So some of the time, and so when he does that, everybody goes. They act like that 8-year-old. Yeah, we're gonna make a new rule now.
Well, I think
he does it too.
This will probably just annoy a lot of people, but I have said that I really believe Trump's win was like a generation was told no for the very first time. Like, they've gotten everything they've wanted, we did this, and, we want Hillary, and she's our girl. And it's time for a woman in the audience. It's time for a woman.
It's time for a woman.
Yeah, a woman.
But not that woman. Jeez.
I agree with that. See, that's where you and I agree.
Yeah.
And that's not that woman. But if it was a conservative woman, they'd be called down.
That wasn't a person that we were hiring for that job when it was Hillary. My wife is a big Hillary fan, or whatever. She supported what she believed to be a good candidate because she was a woman, and I don't think that's true. I think it's a machine that you are hiring.
Right.
There's a whole machine going on there with a whole bunch of bought and paid for lobbyists and
Big
corporations, and that's just dangerous and more dangerous than ever.
Right
now.
So I think that was going on, and I forgot where I was heading.
I don't know, but I it must have interrupted you. I apologize.
That's okay. But I just think that's what we got to the point that we just wanted something besides what we were told we were supposed to want.
Yeah.
You know,
a whole generation told
a whole generation. You know, like that's what we. Oh, what do you mean? We had this all planned out. She is our agenda. She supports our agenda.
So you're saying the post-election reaction was that?
Of like screaming at the sky.
But the election itself, I mean, the outcome of the election itself was fascinating.
Oh,
because it was building and building to this, and I saw it coming. A lot of people saw it coming. There was a lot of really smart people that went, "That guy's going to win."
Oh yeah, I said it from the get go.
They were saying it on the news when they said Hillary can't beat Trump, and when they would show the numbers and they would show Bernie's support, they would say the only guy that has a shot at actually competing is Bernie Sanders.
Yeah,
and who knows? I mean, in debates, probably that'd have been a really. I don't know if that guy could have rose to the occasion to do the mud slinging and the name calling to fight him, but maybe he could have.
I still think there's enough patriotic Americans that socialism will never take hold here.
Right,
and that's what Bernie's downfall was.
He isn't a pure socialist, but he never said no, and that was the problem. Is he never said, "Come on, guys, I'm not a socialist. I'm just saying."
Yeah. I think that was his problem.
Yeah, he got branded and didn't get that off of him.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I didn't study him enough to know, but I just did the same thing everybody else did, where I kind of spitballed what I wanted, and I would have said Bernie, and I was tempted to say Trump, but I didn't want any of those people.
But I think over the years, people have become beat down and weary and leery of a lot of stuff. You know, like they just give new names to things, like that was a hate crime. No, it was murder. We already have a thing on the that is a such and such. Well, no, that was already on the. There's, what I mean. They kept getting these more and more agenda type of laws.
Oh, I see what
I mean. Like that's hate speech. No, that's just
trying to politicize human behavior in a way.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Maybe that is bad.
You know what I mean? Or that was a hate crime because somebody got punched in a bar.
Yeah,
that's been punching bars forever. Now you just want to. Make it something else. We have the laws, and if you keep tweaking them, what are they going to be eventually?
If we keep politicizing our own behavior, that's dangerous.
Yeah, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, because I don't like. I think it creates more. Sides. It defines more clearly the sides.
The side you're on. Yeah.
Which really, I did that thing. What did you call it last night? You called it when I closed the show funny. When I said, or not funny.
Oh, the heartfelt close.
Yeah. What did you call it? The old school.
The old school. That's what I call it. The old school heartfelt close.
I'm married to a woman.
In comedy, you guys have been great. Enjoy your life and enjoy the rest of your ship cruise.
Yeah. But I like connecting with them at that level sometimes and saying something that I feel like is important right now, which is that we don't come together. We define ourselves with conflict, I guess, is the problem.
Right.
And so that further allows us to define ourselves with conflict and our identity. So each identity has to have some sort of opposite identity or it doesn't exist. And that's not the way I don't think that's the best way we are.
Well, it's the identity politics that have gotten so out of hand. Instead of just being, right and wrong. It's you. Are you with me or you're not? Are you with me? Or do you stand? What? There's people in your own group that don't stand.
Yeah,
with
bias
you.
Confirmation. I mean, the minute somebody says, okay, let's say they say all the political things you want them to say, like, we're gonna dismantle this organization and we're gonna put up this organization, we're gonna do these things, and you go, geez, that's right in line with what I say, and we're going to dismember babies on national television every morning, and what? But wait, But wait, are you already on board with that guy? Because if you are, I think a lot of people go, okay, yeah.
right, if that's what he wants.
I guess I'm on, because that's my side.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, is we're not going, look, it's a case-by-case basis, man.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, I believe in that.
Yeah.
Because that goes back to the zero tolerance that drives me crazy in school. Like kid get expelled because they had an aspirin in their bag. We have zero drug tolerance.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? A kid chewed his Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun, and now he's expelled because we have zero tolerance. Like, please.
Yeah.
Case by case.
Yeah, that was hysteria.
Yeah.
And I believe that our entire political system is completely engulfed in hysteria. Do you agree with that?
I do.
So you're capitalizing on it in a certain way. I mean, not in an ugly way, but you jumped right in and said, "Oh, well, I can put myself in this."
Yeah,
and
I can.
I'm going to ask you something personal.
Okay.
This is a big deal.
Okay.
And I bet your listeners are interested in this. Has this affected your personal life? Because you didn't involve yourself. You're not a guy. You don't even really hang around with a lot of people. You don't engage in conflict.
No, I don't like conflict.
And you're in the middle of that right now. That's your identity. So has that affected you physically? Has that affected your personal life?
You might be right.
Has it changed anything?
It might be why I don't sleep well.
That's what I was going to ask. You mentioned that earlier.
I know. You're right. It might be why I can't turn my brain off. I'm thinking all the time, or I've read something. I need to stop reading Twitter and Facebook right before I go to bed.
Oh my God, yes.
Because I get into, I read something and I lay there and think about it and think I should respond, or they're right, and I should write something tomorrow, and I'll start thinking about, what should I write? And then instead of just like you were saying, just meditate, lay there in the dark. Clear your mind.
Well, to be more accurate, I was saying in the morning when you wake up, clear your mind, and then that way during your day, I don't know, there's a little more clarity during the day, and then when you get done at night and it just feels like there's less of it's a smaller tangled ball of yarn to go through, and so you got a shorter wind down.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Training your mind for relaxing and clarifying.
But I in a way, I don't. I hate that I have been totally, like, he's a conservative comic. I just want to be known as a comic.
Yeah, you're not a conservative comic.
I'm not a conservative comic.
You're a conservative presence on the internet.
Right.
Yeah, or not, I wouldn't say you're conservative. You said you're right or wrong, but you are willing to go full conservative if that's right.
If I need to. If I need to.
Yeah.
But I will do just the opposite with my liberal Larry character. I will take it so far and bash the administration as this comic.
Do you say true things when you do that? Like as liberal Larry?
I do it first.
Yeah.
And then I take it to the absurd.
Where it's silly.
So it's silly, so people realize it's satire. But they don't. That's one of Larry the Liberal's biggest fan base is people watch and comment about, they think this is real. It's that kind of that that talk show guy that does Henry, I can't think of it. Phil Henry.
Phil Hendry, yes.
Where
he does all the voices.
And pretends to be, and callers call him.
Yeah, man.
Mad. It's kind of that same thing as liberal Larry will say these things, and then people just watch the responses because they know it's not real. They're like, who is this guy? He should just blow his brains out.
Oh, that's the entertainment.
Yeah.
So the whole entertainment is to watch your spinoff.
Watch the feed. Yeah.
Your feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because people either get it or they don't.
Do you create with that in mind? Do you create material with
I do.
The spin-offs in mind?
Yeah.
So that all your watchers are really, your real following isn't the nut job over in we imagine somebody in a cabin or a trailer, but
trailer with a manifesto.
Yeah. He's probably in a car at a rest stop, but he's freaking out about you,
Yeah.
And then, but your real followers are actually the regular normal
people,
citizens that are
normal
just
people.
watching this unfold.
Right. Right.
So you feel like you have hope.
You think I could be saved?
No, I'm saying you have hope. No, I'm not saying you have promise. Yeah. No, there's hope for you. I'm saying there's no hope for you. Yeah, no, I'm saying you have hope. This is the thing that a lot of people right now, I feel like, I'm real curious about who has hope and who doesn't, because some people don't. But I think all deep down we kind of go, this is an extreme time, but it can't stay this way. It's unsustainable.
Yeah.
So what's going to give, and how's it going to give, and what's it going to look like when we snap back? This
is what I'm afraid of, honestly. I'm afraid, and I actually started writing a movie script about this. I believe that there's going to be one Antifa, one whatever is going to fire the first Fort Sumter shot. I really believe
like
this.
a weird assassination attempt or
yes.
a murder or something
there's
weird,
gonna be
bad.
one thing, like the World War I, the shot heard around the world. There's that one thing that sparks, and I really believe it's going to happen. And it scares me in a way because I
don't know what it's going to be.
You don't know what it's going to be because things, like you said, they're hysterical. Things are hysterical.
Meaning everybody, not just Antifa.
No, I'm saying
to be clear,
everybody.
Yeah,
because I hear people all the time go, "Let one of those sons of bitches,
Right.
hurt one of my family, and this whole
Right.
thing's going down."
Yeah. The real black and white down home guys that are like,
Yeah. So this idea that this movie that I started writing, this treatment, is it's based on the Civil War being televised. It starts off, it's a Civil War reenactment. You know how they have these reenactments, except somebody decides to use real ammo. But not in the reenactment, just like a sniper from a distance shoots one of the others.
Starts taking people out,
and
nobody notices.
And no one knows, thinks it's holy crap! This has started. And
the Civil War.
Civil War actually
starts as a reenactment of the original Civil War.
Yeah, so it starts over, and it's basically the Civil War is now just be on CNN. Now it's because it's modern. It's the same. They're in the uniforms, because they're reenactment. They're
right.
That's breaking out. They're going over the hill. They're, and the families are like, I'm signing up. And
then socially, what happens? People start going, well, I'm going to wear the blue or wear the gray.
And
they actually start making uniforms and start doing it like it's a real thing.
Yeah.
It creates a real thing.
Yeah. And that's the idea that I have for my movie that I've started writing. This it's the new.
You got to say that you've written so that no one else jumps ahead of you. Yeah.
What day is this? I shouldn't have brought it up on air, but it's written.
It's done in copyright.
It's at the Writers Guild.
Writers Guild has definitely authorized it or whatever.
But the only thing I haven't been able to, I have this. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Shenandoah with Jimmy Stewart.
I did.
Where
they
try to stay out of the Civil War. They try really hard, but brothers go to different sides, and that's sort of my.
That's humanity. That's normal. Yeah. That's every war.
Yeah, that you try to stay out of it, and then somebody gets pulled into it. So there's the central family that's trying to stay out of it.
I wonder if the snapback is going to be that the discourse becomes more about thinking clearly, balance. Not in absolutes, because like what you're saying there, the Civil War in reality was not a bunch of people going da, 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 and then a bunch of other people going yes and everybody was absolutely pure about their vision and clear, and they knew exactly what they wanted, and everybody had a side and they picked it. It built from something. It built from ideas, obviously right and wrong. There were certain people that believed this was right and wrong and that was right and wrong, and there was conflict, and then there were people who were torn. Yeah. There were people who were on both sides, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
family members were both.
There's no absolutes on any of this, and that's real. And I feel like right now, people want to define things in absolutes, and that is not natural. That's not how we are, and that's not real, and that doesn't move us any closer to our goal. And I feel like the snapback, what we're talking about, how is this going to give? What's going to give is that suddenly our discourse is going to be about absolutes.
Yeah. The rubber band is going to snap.
Mm-hmm. And the absolute vision, the absolute one-way idea is going to be ugly to us. Yeah. We're going to be, it's going to be like atrocious, abhorrent.
Yeah.
And when that happens, we'll be healthy again.
And as you and I talked before, falls of civilization come down every 200 or 300 years.
Cyclically, but there's never been this.
There's never been this.
We don't have
to.
We're in that throw of that final cycle.
So you don't know if this.
Does it fall or does it redefine?
Right.
Yeah, and can it redefine? And I believe it can. I think people do believe it can. And I think our forefathers, if you want to go there, believed it could.
I do think so too.
Providing it was a government for the people, by the people, meaning these checks and balances didn't allow for any absolute rulers to exist. And right now we've pinpointed and whittled down these power structures to the point where there are too many strong positions in our government, and there just can't be that. You can't have that if you want a healthy government. There never has been a healthy government like that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Do you agree with that?
I agree.
I agree. I think that's the problem. And that's what everybody's yelling about all the time. They just don't know how to fix it
Well, I think one of the things that people don't like about Trump is that has shined a light on a lot of stuff that was bad in the past. And I'm not just going back to Hillary or Obama or whatever. I'll go back to Bush. I mean, we've gone for a long way of just letting things slide. The general public did, like, whatever, hey, I'm good. I can afford my house. I don't care what they do.
Got my iPhone, got my car payment.
I'm happy. I don't care. And we just let it
Flat
happen.
screens.
And I think all of a sudden we've become enlightened to, like, there's a lot of corrupt.
Well,
There's
yeah.
a whole lot of
You know what?
media to me today, as I was a newspaper guy, I think media is corrupt. I think they have gone. It used to be when I went to school for journalism, it was who, what, when, where, how, and why.
That's something that nobody may know about you, is that you have an education in journalism.
Yeah,
that's why this is fascinating.
Yeah,
to you.
I went to school for fine art. I wanted to be an artist, but
Yeah.
I had a minor in journalism because I wanted to be an advertising artist.
And you got a ponytail. I mean,
And I
you're a
have a
straight up hippie, but yet nobody'd know it.
Yeah, so
Fine art, journalism,
yeah,
hair.
yeah. So that's what journalism was. It was the
Yeah.
facts. It
You
was
want to borrow my Birkenstocks?
Can I want those pants, man?
But it was about the facts.
The facts. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
reporting the facts. Remember the old that you watch the news in the old days. It could be done in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it was like today was a car wreck of such and such. A bomb went off, and do you remember that?
Oh, that brings up an interesting point. What if the whole thing has been, the whole reason for this has been that they couldn't fill their news network with information unless they started spinning off in different directions
It's
and overdoing things?
I totally agree.
That it was more than facts,
the
it was
24
opinion.
The 24-hour news cycle hurt people. It scared people. It put them in the. I had this conversation with a woman that was like, "Oh, I'm not letting my kid out of my sight." Because I was talking about how I let my son get on a bicycle and just ride for miles, be home at dark. Why would you do that? Was such a didn't you hear about the kidnapping and such? I go, yeah, that was down in Louisiana. We
Yeah.
live in Denver, but they scare people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I go, when it happens in my neighborhood or my city, then let's talk. But they've scared you.
I feel like news is scary anyway. I mean, honestly, I can tell you from personal experience. When I lived in Athens, Georgia, 2 hours outside of Atlanta during the Atlanta murders, and that was when the news cycle was an hour of news or two a day,
Yeah.
and it was normal. We didn't
Nightly
quite
news.
have, and there was no news channels, and I think that I mean, I was terrified as a kid. I thought I was going to be the first white kid to go down. I thought for sure, because you're a kid, you're in your own world.
Yeah.
But that's normal, and I think that's the normal reaction to scary stuff.
Yeah.
Is that you, especially an American,
Yeah.
who believes that they're the center of the
But
universe.
I think
How we grew
we
up.
scare our kids.
Yeah, we allow it.
We do now. Like when I was a kid, I had a .22 rifle when I was a little kid. I mean, like a rifle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't kill your brother. Like
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
just go shoot some cans and
Yeah.
and we learned right and wrong, and there was religious background to people that you really believe that what right and wrong was, and you don't want to die, and you don't.
I'm not shitting on that, but that exists in every. I think that same structure exists in a lot of cultures. It's the Joseph Campbell thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
The Power of Myth. Joseph Campbell wrote that book, The Power of Myth. That exists in any social structure. It doesn't have to be religion. It can be just your family tradition. It could be whatever. But if you're conscious of that while you teach your children, that doesn't have to be religion. I think when people hear that, they turn off to what you're saying, which
Right.
is important, what you're saying.
Right.
But if you say, well, there was religious background, then people go, fuck, screw this guy. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
But
like,
it's not religion. It's right and wrong and structure.
and structure. And I have this thing about I'm not a big church person.
Right.
It's one thing to be religious, but it's another thing to be like,
probably hard for you to get
I can't
in.
believe you wore that to church.
Right. It's hard for you to get in there.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I could be on the ocean like this and go, man, God did look at this thing.
Yeah.
Look at God. This is church
Yeah.
on this ship.
Yeah.
You can look at nature and go, wow, you did a great job with this.
Yeah.
And then people that want to go, well, I don't believe in God. How can you not?
You say thou don't believe in God?
No, how?
Oh.
How can thou not believe in God? No, but
Like, dang.
because
Yeah.
if you think about it, no matter what, even if you want to say Big Bang Theory,
Yeah.
well, who made the two molecules smack together?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just believe there's a higher. We don't know it,
Right.
We're lower forms.
When you say who, it sounds simple to people. It sounds simple. And some people want simple. Some people are like, yeah, who? What person? What human entity? What thing I can wrap my mind around?
Yeah.
But then the spirituality of it, really, if you
that's the word I'm looking for, spirituality.
Yeah, so
That's
maybe
what-
it's an energetic existence. Maybe it's something that we're a part of. Whatever you're saying when you say who is not necessarily an anthropomorphized image of a person or a god.
Yeah.
It could potentially just be a why.
What or how?
A what?
Well, that's what I've
Yeah.
always thought. And as a kid, remember the book Horton Hears a Who?
Yes, man. I love
where
Seuss.
Horton's carrying
Dr. Seuss.
carrying the clover, and there's stuff that lives on the clover.
Yeah, it was a macrocosm story of something tiny, and then it being this tiny world in there, and then up from there is.
Do you get it?
And on and on. Oh, absolutely.
That's
I've
what
always believed in that. Yeah.
That we only see what we have on our clover.
Absolutely.
We only see that.
We don't know
and
what-
we don't want to believe that we're being carried around by a giant elephant.
Right. Yeah, we
You
don't.
know?
Yeah, we don't know anything outside of our perception. So on a larger scale, we were talking about that, how we have six senses. And
Yeah.
so if there's things outside of our senses, much like many living beings on Earth that don't have the ability to hear, see, feel, smell, whatever, let's say they can't see, they're still, if they're in the presence of a color, that color's still there. And it's happening all around them, but they don't know that.
Right.
And just like us, there's probably an infinity amount of things around us and part of what we're doing in our experience
Right.
that we don't have the sense to perceive.
Right, so let's take-
and that may explain. If we could see all that,
See-
we'd probably go, "Oh, that's what's going on."
Yeah, because if like we're living on the clover's held by the elephant, but the elephant is actually on a piece of clover that's being held by a bigger
elephant.
We just don't
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah,
that's
you're
why
like
when
a
people-
long-haired Carlos Sagan.
Yes.
Is that? Or
Yeah,
Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan.
I said Carlos.
Carlos Sagan.
Yeah, like he's from
Carlos,
Mexico.
let me tell you, people, what's happening.
name is Carlos
Here's what's
Sagan.
going on in the cosmos.
Carlos Sagan. Could you imagine? That'd be a totally different.
That'd be totally different.
Cosmos.
Yeah. The giant pinata of
Yeah.
life.
Cosmos. This is my son, Cosmos. Pinata.
Deport Carlos Sagan. Deport Carlos Sagan.
Dude,
Build a wall around the universe.
you said something interesting about earlier that made me think of a question I had for you when you said things that people don't like about Trump. ... This is an interesting question for you. Is there anything you don't like about Trump? And I'm not setting you up to trash Trump here. You can even accompany it with things you like. But is there anything? Because I think that's what the issue is a lot of people are like, well, if you're a supporter in any way, then you're a supporter in all ways. But I don't think that's true. With
that's not. No, it's not true. But I honestly, I can't think of anything that I don't like, and I'm saying that honestly. And I'm just saying that honestly.
How about his neck? No,
You know what I
I'm
mean?
just joking. Yeah, but yeah.
But I don't, people don't like the way he tweets. I think he tweets. I think that's he figured out how to use the new social media.
He did, yeah.
He's ahead of the tank. Do I like, oh man, I wish I could afford some of the clothes he wears. I wish,
nice suit.
I wish I had that kind of money. I wish I had the attitude. I wish I had an attitude if I can take this as far as I want it to go. Like, I believe you have almost a Trump-like outlook.
Oh, really?
I do. That you have I can do whatever I want to do.
Really?
I will set my mind to it, and I will do it. I will.
Wow.
Yeah, I will. If
a
I
high
want to
compliment.
be the best, I will do that. If I
Yeah.
like one day maybe I should do my comedy a little cleaner.
Yeah.
I found a love in that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Oh, yeah.
It's you having an attitude of I can just do this.
Yeah, almost naivety or
Yeah.
naivety,
Yeah.
whatever.
And people
Yeah.
mistake that kind of drive for he just thinks he's better than everybody else.
What about this, man? Maybe some of the discomfort with people who don't like Trump is the naivety. Because I honestly feel like for me, that's the part that makes me real nervous, is that same naivety that makes him think, I can do whatever I want. And, we're like, yeah, go ahead. or
Yeah, go
whatever.
for it.
Yeah. That same thing is underinformed in some ways and dangerous, or, maybe gets him in situations where he's being gotten over on, like we discussed earlier, where
Yeah.
I feel like somebody made the point that I think it was Jimmy Dore, that he was a mark. Or was it him? Anyway, somebody was saying that it was Rollins, that he seems to be a mark for people getting over on him, and they're taking advantage of him or control of his resources. And i.e., Manafort, his wife, Putin. And so people feel like these relationships he's getting himself into on behalf of America are dangerous because they're going to control what they shouldn't control.
They're no different than the relationships that other people have had. There's pictures.
True.
There's pictures of people meeting with Russian diplomats.
True.
There's pictures of Hillary. With
True, but that brings us
Putin.
to the exact point that if he's naive in these certain ways, in the ways that these other people were not. Like if you say, well, this manipulative power structure that is the Clinton family got in bed with Putin years ago, or whatever you say about that.
The Clinton crime,
right, syndicate. The Clinton, yeah. But if they did that, then wouldn't you feel? I would feel more comfortable with a diabolical, manipulative machine dealing with Putin than I would a naive guy that thinks he can do anything he wants. Because I feel like that guy's going to lose against.
Or if you're smart enough to go keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
That's a good point. But how close do you want them, and can you truly do battle up close?
Well, think of this: when people were like, "I can't believe he's meeting with the leader of North Korea. Look at him being all nice to him." Was he supposed to walk up to him, kick him in the nuts,
finger him,
and go,
"Screw
you! Get rid of your That's what do you want? You have to win more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. I mean, be nice.
I agree.
Work them over with friends. Look, we're just like you. Don't blow us up. But they're like, oh, how is he nice to her?
I always thought that was odd when they would go put these guys in a room and based on their crimes against humanity or their record of crimes against humanity or whatever, they would treat them with visual disrespect as dignitaries. They would sit, but then they'd have ambassadors that would deal with these guys behind the scenes in probably much the same way we're seeing Trump do now. So it makes you wonder. But I mean, how come he's so dismissive of governments where they are more, where they're more aware of human?
Because I think he's playing that game of catching the flies with the honey.
No, I'm saying, but what about like the countries that are more kind and thoughtful to their people, that have more progressive views? Why is he dismissive or rude to those people and not trying to catch those flies with honey, but he's doing it only with these people that are total
because I think he's kind of thinking, well, these
fascists.
Are already our friends. I need to win these guys over.
But they're not the way he's treating them. I mean, he is creating enemies in those worlds where we didn't have enemies before. So it can't be both ways. I feel like if you're going to be a nice guy, then just be nice to all of them. Why would you alienate Angela Merkel and all these other people that, not to pick one out because maybe somebody has an opinion about one of these. But I'm saying, between Norway, Germany, England, like why would we alienate if we're gonna do that?
Well, who is he really alienated? I mean,
we have a different relationship now with because of the bailing out of the Accord and all these different things we've done with Europe and
yeah. But if you look back at it, that was not a good deal. I mean, like the climate thing that he got out of was like, we're paying more than everybody else, or like China doesn't have to follow these rules until such and such year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't a good deal.
But was the intent to try to get them to fix it, or was the intent to get the hell out of it and put our money somewhere else?
No, I think the intent was to fix it. I think there's a lot of people like,
then why isn't it fixed? If we're the superpower of the world still, then why can't we fix it? Why isn't that a priority? Why are we not making the environment a priority on a global scale? Why are we doing all this stuff that makes it look like we're not, and that we're making the environment not a priority? I mean, I really do believe that we are showing our ass in that way, which isn't good.
I agree with
that.
Like
globally.
I think we're just trying to shake it up, shake the snow globe up, and let's hope we can get it all settled again.
Yeah, but it's dangerous.
Because like the straws, this whole thing about straws, in
right?
California, straws.
That's a thing.
Have you ever looked at the actual numbers of who does the most pollution? That we're like lower than most of the people.
But don't we lead the way on all these humanitarian issues or environmental issues? Haven't we always been the leader? Hasn't it always taken a city in the United States to make legislation or a federal legislation against environmental polluting that caused maybe another country to go, yeah, we should do that, and then they clean up theirs? I mean, that's really historically how it's happened. We lead the way.
But as you go down, like maybe you start to run out of things.
Yeah, I suppose.
You know what I mean?
Picking one is silly. Really, what we should be doing is putting resources toward cleaning up, like
them.
Big resources toward not only cleaning up them, but literally physically cleaning up the plastic patches in the ocean and all the stuff that we do need to handle.
Well, that goes back to something I've been saying for a really long time that I've taken a lot of crap for. Is I don't believe in welfare. I believe in workfare.
And there's templates of that work.
But I've been like, people, well, I can't. No, if you're in a wheelchair, you can stuff envelopes, or you could work a computer, you could help with building, you could be, like you said, clean up.
Yeah.
If you don't have a job, you meet here at 8:00 in the morning, and then you clean up the highway, and here's your check.
Yeah, you want food stamps? Well, all right. We got a lot of stuff we need to do in the city. We got a lot of stuff.
Go paint this overpass.
We got to do this stuff. And now look how cool our city is. Habitat for Humanity is really powerful in that way. I did a fundraiser for them. Have you worked with them at all ever? They're really cool. And a lot of people discount them because they feel like they're just giving people a house. But they make them pay the mortgage, and they make them work to build this thing and do the thing. And they pick them based on, socioeconomic needs, right? And what happens is they'll do this in the middle of a neighborhood where it happened in Savannah a lot, where there was personal accounts that I got to hear where they put somebody in a house. These people pay their meager mortgage with some assistance of this program. And so they have a nice home, and it means something to them, and they keep it clean and tight, and it's going somewhere. They got a job and everything, and they're right in the middle of the mayhem. Total falling. Well, people in the neighborhood start to go, that's kind of neat. I want to do that. And the kids in the neighborhood start getting, they just start picking their head up.
Yeah.
And you have not just the kid who grew up in that house going to college now, or finishing high school, or not getting involved in gangs, but his friends, and then his friends' parents are kind of on board with that whole situation, and they start looking into it. And it created in Savannah a network of people that were doing better for themselves.
Yeah.
It's an effective program.
Yeah. No, Savannah was I used to work Savannah a lot, the comedy house down there. And Savannah has some of the beautiful old Victorian homes down there, down by the water. The neighborhoods were going bad because the houses were, getting bad. And I always thought, why doesn't a billionaire, why doesn't Steve Jobs or somebody just go, I'm buying this 8-city block and fixing this up, helping this out, and then, the same thing that you're saying. If you help them, help people.
Yeah.
That maybe they'll go. And I never understood why you just want to tell us we're doing something wrong when you really could be actually using that money for good.
Create momentum.
Yeah. Push personal responsibility instead of just going, well, you got to do this. Oh, if that doesn't happen, this won't happen,
I wish somebody would come out and tell me why this doesn't happen. It's right along the lines of what you're talking about. I went to the dump in L.A. one time on Slauson, East Slauson, and I'm driving down this road, and there's like chain link fences around lots full of rubble. This is L.A., man. Yeah. I mean, it's a stone's throw from the Staples Center, where X amount of millionaire kids that grew up there are now playing sports.
Yeah,
and they grew up in that neighborhood, and all there is just chained up rubble lots and a liquor store and a liquor store and a liquor store, and then a billboard for Crevassier, for cool cigarettes, for new, all cultural targeted, hey kids, you're going to smoke, you're going to drink, you're going to go to that bar, you're going to buy that liquor, you're going to, go on that corner and sell drugs to those people.
Yeah.
They really are just telling these kids what they're going to do. And there's nothing good there. It's just rubble and concrete. How come those guys with all that money, that's their neighborhood? I get that they're involved in United Way and all these different things, but dude, I would really want to just go there and buy, how much is that lot, man? Yeah. I mean, buy 3-4 of those, put in a green space, buy 7 of those billboards, and just put, you're going to make it.
Yeah.
You're black and beautiful. Look at your body. You're amazing. You're better than, you're better than 10%, 90% of the rest of the world.
You're smarter than you think you are.
You're way powerful. You're a powerful young black man. Like, go do something. Just anything. Bam. And let these kids grow up in an environment that has a little bit of hope, kind of, going in their ear and see what happens. And I never saw that.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I never saw that.
You're not being very democratic right now.
No, I
You're
am.
not being very liberal.
But I am. I'm saying they should do that.
I know, but that's what the meeting ground. That's where, you see what
I
I'm saying?
want them to do
that's
that.
Where we both went, why can't we do this and make people better? Instead of saying that's where the background. That's where people come from. That's why the rednecks and they're like that in the South, because that's the way they grew up. No, it's not. That's not the way it is. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, we're
like
people.
That.
We're
people.
We all sat on a couch and heard somebody say something ignorant and kind of went, I don't think that's right.
I think Uncle Doofus is.
That Habitat, I don't want to keep going back to one thing, but the Habitat for Humanity group, when we were talking to them, one of the things I realized, because I was promoting the show and talking about what I liked about Habitat, and what I noticed was that the people of Savannah right now are going through this thing where there's an increase in crime, and there's some murder going on, gang activity, and they're trying to fight that and figure out what to do. Well, everybody complains about it, how now it's a little bit dangerous at night. You got to be careful, and you could get robbed and shot, and something might happen. And so they complain about, and it's definitely a racial issue. It's because we're 60% African American in Savannah, and so the richer white people out on the islands are like, I can't walk around downtown in my Dockers and my flip flops without getting, I'm afraid I'm gonna get shot by some black kid, and that's kind of what you hear. And it made me sick to my stomach, because I thought, well, you're not really doing anything. You're just saying, round these people up and get them under control, cops. And that's not the way you fix it. The way Habitat does it, what they do, affects exactly that problem, because now you're giving these kids in that neighborhood hope, right? I grew up poor, and not super poor, but my mom was poor enough that we lived in some bad spots sometimes, and she tried hard, but there's only so much you can do, and so I had a little friend who was 7, and I was 7, to make it, just so you know, it's appropriate.
It's appropriate.
We were both 7, but he was a black kid. I was the only white kid in the neighborhood, and we were in kind of rougher neighborhood in Madison, Wisconsin, and little projects, kind of, right. These little
as rough as
cheap
Madison,
apartment.
Wisconsin could be.
It has its spots, man. Where it's just any place you put an apartment building where it costs $200 a month, you're gonna have some, people in there that are, whatever, that are going to create, there's going to be, little young criminals, running around. And so we're 7, and we didn't know about any of this. We were just 7. And he had a 12-year-old brother that wanted, that was very racist. And I was the white kid hanging out with his little brother. And so when we would just go, our big thing was to go on our bikes to the 7-Eleven up at the main road. We'd ride up, and it was a long way. I mean, it was miles. Probably it was 3 blocks.
Oh my God, you could have been kidding.
It was probably 3 blocks.
Oh my God.
No, I'm just saying, in my mind, it was a long journey. A day
to the next county.
A day's journey with a dime to put in the thing and get a Super Ball. That's what we wanted. We get our Super Balls. We'd get a quarter. You could buy, whatever. We had a bunch of these Super Balls. We'd bounce them all the way back. We just loved it. And somewhere along the way, 3-4 times, and that's all it took for us to not hang out anymore. His 12-year-old brother and his friends surrounded us and made us fight each other until one of us gave up. They made us, and we'd just be crying, punching each other, and they made us do it. They made us fight each other. And wow, isn't that vicious? And after you getting caught the 3rd time,
you're like, I can't.
And we couldn't
even
hang out. We didn't want to hang out with each other anymore. We loved each other, dude. We used to. There's pictures of us with our arm around each other, and we loved each other. And I mean, we were just
buddies. Yeah.
And I grew up in that environment. And what kind of hope does that kid, Jamie, have? What kind of hope did I have?
Yeah.
If I'd have stayed there and grown up in that, I'd have grown up in that conflict, that viciousness, that,
It would have just made you even more like,
no guidance. My mom was gone. His mom was gone. We didn't have guidance. We're just trying to sort this shit out on our own. My mom didn't know about that till I was older, I don't think. And then, anyway, so the point is, these kids downtown now, they get a house. Their mom gets a house. They have a house to live in that means something. Now, mom takes things a little more seriously. She's making you do your homework. Now you're going to college, and they live in the nice house on the block, and somebody else sees that, and they do better, and everybody does a little better. Everybody's raised up a little. And now those kids, they don't rob you in the street. So go do something. You're telling somebody to go do something. You go do something. Support a program like that. Physically go do something with a program that affects, that raises those people up, so that these disillusioned young people don't rob you in the street, because that's who's doing it.
Yeah.
It's not a 60-year-old guy.
Yeah.
A 60-year-old guy didn't show up
it's kinda
with
like,
his friends
it's
to
kinda
rob
like
you.
Candace Owens. Have you been following Kansas?
No.
Candace Owens.
No, but I love Kansas. They're a great band.
I love the girl. Me too. Is like talking about giving hope to black people. That all these years the Democratic Party has just kind of played down and pandered to, and you gotta ask for this. Well, her whole thing is like, we can do it. We're better. Our economy's better. We're doing good. That's what you don't have to think that you can't get out of here. She said that's what she calls it, the Democratic plantation. That you don't have to have that kind of thinking anymore. That you can't. That's kind of what you were saying.
Yeah.
You just be better, think better, take responsibility. Take the job, work your way up. You know?
Yeah, and that actually the assistance could be pulling for those people. It doesn't have to be, like you said, the welfare system, or complaining about the welfare system, or complaining about affirmative action. Look, there can be a more level playing field, but it has to be accompanied by pulling for those people, actively being a part of it. Because if your community is actively a part of you doing better, you feel a responsibility to do better.
To be,
I don't care who you
part
are.
Of the community.
I don't care who you are. If you're going to find a little gem of hope in somebody who saw their best friend, shot in the face, or beaten to death by cops or something like that, the only way to find it is to jump in with them and show and pull for them.
Yeah.
You're not going to find it by telling them to find it,
or not saying all cops are bad. Like you said, if your friend got shot, then join in on we need to get that cop. We need that. Not like all of them. Then now you've just ruined your whole argument.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that are actually balancing that out. Like you see videos now where they'll show somebody mouthing off hardcore to a cop, and then and the cop's just being really cool.
Yeah,
and you're like,
I saw one of those on Facebook yesterday with the guy trying to give the guy a ticket. Do I have to sign it?
Yeah,
do I have to?
Well, fine then.
Fine then.
Yeah. He was totally rude to this cop, and the cop was like,
cop's like, whatever.
Right,
have a nice day.
See you later. Yeah. And I've had more experience. I'm a white guy, so I've had more experiences like that. It's nice. I'm lucky that way. But if there was a time when I would wear a bandana, and I had a long ponytail, and I would wear moccasins. I had like a little scruff on my face, and I also happened to smoke a lot of dope at that time. And I also happened to, potentially be doing illegal activities.
Potentially?
And I was treated as such. So the problem is the image of a young black man who is just driving to go play basketball may have the same connotation to certain inner city cops that it did when I was looking like a ne'er-do-well, potentially somebody who needed to get looked at. And that kid's just, he's a straight A student. He's just going to play some basketball. But to that cop, the world that he's in, he's taking fire from all directions from kids who look just like him.
Yeah.
So that's the big issue, is like, how do you balance that? And can you even?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can.
Well, this is going to sound very weird. And sometimes I even think I should avoid.
I love most things you say start that way.
Yeah. If you
It's
notice
going to
that,
sound
I
very
don't know.
weird.
But I was always raised, you're judged by the company you keep. You're judged by the or
sorta.
My dad would say, look at your shoes. You need to polish your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
People look at your shoes to see what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
That kind of.
All right.
We look at each other.
Yeah, I don't even have any on.
But I think there was a period when, like, MTV and all the rap videos and everything just wanted to push this attitude of we're street, we're mean, we're gang, we're the girls, the bitches, the guns, our bling, boob, and perception,
ignorance.
And that if you put out an image, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get like, well, maybe I should be worried.
Yeah,
maybe I should be. You know?
Yeah, but Reginald, Johnson, who's the valedictorian at his school and does his homework every day and is respectful to his mom and his girlfriend and is going to play some basketball in a kind of a roughed out car because he doesn't have any money. He didn't do that.
Oh, I hear you. No, I'm here.
Yeah.
I totally agree
Right.
with you. But I'm saying that sometimes you get judged by what you equate with.
You say you, but like, I mean, how?
And I'm not saying you people.
No,
I get
right.
the same with rednecks.
No,
if you're going to
but
wear a Confederate
right.
flag T-shirt
Right.
and go, well, I don't really. I just thought it was cool, you know.
Well, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, the problem for young inner city black people is that they're painted with that brush, no matter what they do. Aren't they? And how did they do that? They didn't do that. That's not the culture. 100%. I mean, there's a huge cross section of black culture that's not like that at all.
I know. That's what I was saying about.
But the media doesn't portray it because it's not as fun and exciting.
You're right.
The
media goes back to what I said about
Yeah.
propaganda. They need this excitement. They need to keep you. They keep that side against this side and this team against that team. It's kind of like a sports thing, you know, that they can divide us up and you want to hear the news about your team. Yeah.
I think as artists, if we survive long enough, we eventually find out we made mistakes early on. And there's this huge responsibility on the artist to not portray that kind of ignorance, right? We know that. And older rap artists know that, but younger ones don't yet. And they're going to do it. So that maybe the responsibility is on the portrayal of black culture by the media, and what do we hold up? You know, do we say these guys, like Kendrick Lamar makes a lot of really interesting points and shows you this underbelly of what it's like to grow up in that situation and the terror and all these things, but he does it in a very lyrically intelligent way and a very raw way. I don't think he's celebrating those kind of things, you know, like criminal activity, but he definitely is talking about it. So how much of, you know, the problem is, I think with music, rap, and that tends to be a war between those two things. Where
I've never been a fan. I'm not a fan of rap music. I never
Right.
have been.
I was.
I never have.
Yeah.
But because I don't believe that rap is music. I believe rap is a beat. And music is melody and notes and
It's not. Yeah.
It's not. That's a beat. That's a beat. Danceable.
And then maybe poetry.
Yeah, but
at its best.
But it's not even poetry at its best to me.
No, I mean, at its best, it's poetry. Lyrically,
yes.
Like they're lyrically putting something out there. It's not necessarily singing, it's rapping.
But it's not even, to me, like, you know, lyrics of the old days, like, you know, Jackson Browne or Bob Dylan or those, where that was actual almost poetry to a melody.
Well, but that's singing.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's different.
Yeah.
It's just a different medium.
Right. And so I've just always felt like that was just sort of a thing you can do. Anybody can do it.
But anybody can't.
No, anybody can. They can't be good at it, but anybody can do it.
Well, it's just like music. Anybody can play guitar and sing too, but that doesn't make it music.
But I always thought. But I always where I was going with this.
Right.
I always thought like there's always should be things for niche audiences. Like when I was a kid, I watched wrestling when I was a kid. Wrestling, Wahoo McDaniels and those, you know, the old guys, and it was kind of fake. And then as it grew into this giant thing, and you go, how many people are falling for this bull crap?
Yeah,
you know, how many people? You know, it's kind of like NASCAR. I used to go watch stock car racing, is what it used to be. I loved that.
Yeah.
And then as NASCAR grew, and you go, these cars are just pumped out. They're the same exact cars.
Yeah.
They're not. How is this getting as big as it used to be? More fun. And it's kind of like that with what I thought with rap was like, I understand there's an audience for it, but now it's like taking over. How come?
Yeah.
You know, people say I miss songs, I miss music, I miss, you know, but everywhere you go, it's like things get almost forced. You should enjoy this. You should like this. You should be.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, I kind of see that. The analogy that you brought to mind on rap was whether or not it's music.
Yeah,
it's a good debate, because a lot of people have that thought that that's not music. It's different. It is different. It's as different to art as painting is to sculpture, maybe. Like that would be a good analogy. Whereas if a painting is Jackson Browne, then Dr. Dre and early rap would be a sculpture. and then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a multi-medium where there's like collage and physical texture to the painting,
paper mache
right?
and nails with acrylic paint
on there, right? And then now you have massive interaction with sculptures together, and that's rap now, where it's like a whole nother advanced version of that, where you have. And then there's a painting in the middle of it because they're actually doing. They
sing now.
There's
in the middle
incredible,
of a rap song.
incredible singers doing beautiful melody that you're talking about that you're saying is missing from rap, but it's in there, and they're putting it in, and then they're sampling from other things, and mixing mediums, and I mean that's the open mind of the artist, which. Come on, I mean that we do that.
Yeah.
So we have to do that. So I don't think you can say it's not music. It's just a different kind of thing.
Yeah. Well,
than
it's just different. Well, I've said this before on my podcast, Remasculate, which is still going to be my podcast in the end.
Did you say Remasculate?
All right,
that's what we're on right now.
Remasculate.
All right.
Yeah. And is that like hip hop is different than rap? Like that's hip hop is its own thing, or what's the other one that they? There's the one in England that's so big, a type of.
Oh, is it dub style?
Dubstep.
Yeah, dubstep. Yeah, that's it.
They're different. Things are different.
Mm-hmm.
And so genres should be genres. Like jazz is jazz. You hear a jazz song, it's a jazz song. You hear a blues song, a blues song. And that's when my argument with country music is when rap started coming into country music. And they say, well, this is still country. No, it's not.
Oh, like Colt Ford?
Like Colt Ford
yeah.
and those... I'm not a big. I call it hick hop. I actually do a bit on it tonight.
Yeah, no, that's what they call it.
Hick hop. Well, yeah, they do it now but
you started
10 years ago when I was on the radio. Yeah,
really?
I swear to God. Yeah, because when Cowboy Troy put out that first album, I said this isn't country, it's hick hop.
Yeah,
and that was like 10 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, you were the jock talking about it.
So that's the difference. Country is country. If you want to make it a different genre, I'm okay with that. But don't tell me what it is.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Don't say this is country music. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Create your own station. Create your own radio station. Don't force it on country fans. Because I can tell you right now, hundreds, millions of probably country fans have stopped listening to country music. And have gone back to I'll just listen to some old Jackson Brown. Alan Jackson CDs.
Yeah,
or I'll just listen to a Garth Brooks CD.
That's nostalgic too.
Yeah, but I think if you're not giving them what they want, they're not going. Sure, you're going to make new fans and new music and that, but
isn't it arguable that you're not exposed to rap music because you don't care for it, or you have not found a liking, in it. So there's nothing that you really.
No, because I liked it.
You went down the rabbit.
I enjoyed it at first with like Run DMC and Walk This Way, and there was some.
That was
was some stuff.
The crossover
stuff that I enjoyed.
Well, that was the whole idea of that, was to draw
Beastie
you in.
Boys,
yeah, they wanted to do that. That's the whole idea, was to go, hey guys, listen to this.
Yeah,
and they did, and we did, and we went, oh, that's cool.
And then I didn't go. This is cool. I went, okay, now it's going too far.
You didn't go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, isn't it arguable that you don't know the nuanced, the nuances of rap music and the different genres? So you kind of see one thing and go, because you aren't exposed. It's almost, I mean, not to say you're ignorant, but you're ignorant to that, as I am ignorant to, I'm ignorant to, what do you call it? Classical music. I love classical music, but I've never gone down the rabbit hole. I never listened. I listened to like Brahms, violin concerto, and that was it. And then nothing else after that. So I couldn't tell you.
You could tell who's who or what's
what. We're at a dinner party and somebody's talking about classical because they're French.
Beethoven's.
Yeah, they're in the symphony and they play French horn and they want to talk to me about classical music. Yeah. I can't have an intelligent conversation about it, and I can't even. I don't think responsibly have an opinion about it.
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
Well,
that we're talking about right now, because like
I can hear classical music and be fine. Like I can read in, like I'm in the ship library and they play classical or whatever, and I'm fine in the background. I can hear a song and it doesn't bother me. Your favorite word, visceral?
Yeah.
I have a visceral response
To rap.
To rap music.
But
I will hit the button on the radio.
Right, but
I
that's
will swear to God, I was just like, bam!
But that's the nature.
No.
That's the nature of the music, dude. It's like saying your stand-up. Like some stand-up is a monologist standing there talking. You can put that on the background at a library and nobody's going to even notice it's on.
Yeah.
If it's, Stephen Wright talking like that.
Yeah.
But with you, and you're going, what? Somebody slept with that woman or whatever. And I can't have that on the background. I would have a visceral reaction because you're doing it right. So I think if we're talking about rap music, if they're doing it right, it's going to be in your face.
Yeah.
And if you're not into it, you're going to go, I'm not into that.
But see, so
it doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it.
My wife was trying to get me on this because I listen to British radio stations.
Oh,
and
really?
I do. I have the app. I love Capital FM that comes out of London. And I like. What
are they playing?
It's club music. Like has a
electronic
dance beat, like
music,
techno kind of thing. And she goes, I just don't believe how you can like this and you hate such and such.
Yeah.
And I go, because I accept it for what it is. This is techno. Don't put techno in my country. Don't put hip hop in my country.
Oh, okay.
I've accepted that I like. This has a melody. There's some singing. There's some there's some things that I like. And
has there ever been a rap song you liked?
Not in years. Not in a really, really long time.
I bet you there's something out there you just haven't heard. Probably there's one that you go, oh, that's kind of cool. Would you agree that maybe that's possible?
Maybe, but I think I've grown so annoyed to the fact that I don't. When
when your mind identifies it as hip hop, you're out.
Like, fuck, I'm out. Yeah. Because I grew up. I love poetry. I used to want to write poetry. I actually won state in writing poetry in Texas when I was in high school. I have a trophy for it.
You're going to lose a lot of listeners
I
on
know.
this ponytail.
I wanted to be
fine art major.
I wanted to write lyrics. I loved Jackson Brown. I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. I love poetry and how you can say 6 words could be a whole verse. Finding that thing. And when I listen to music now, back that up, back that up, back that up, back that up,
repetitive.
back that. Like
I told my son that.
Please,
I was like, get this
can
stuff
you
away.
Stop this crap.
Well, I told him this, and I'll tell you this, and maybe it may make sense, and maybe I'm just being, whatever. But because my son liked rap, and he's 9, so he's like into. I want to hear. He likes the sound of it and the feel of it. He's 9. He's got these emotions coming up, these testosterone, endocrine system fueled emotions.
Yeah.
And so it's visceral like that, like we said.
Turn him on to some Johnny Cash.
Rap. Well, yeah. Well, he listens to everything, but rap. He keeps going back to Tupac. I let him listen to a couple Tupac songs, and which I like Tupac, but there's some swearing in it. But then he'll find some stuff that's just like that, what you said, where it's like, because Tupac was saying stuff, Changes. If you ever listen to Changes, that's a meaningful song, and it's cool, and it's positive in a lot of ways from a place of not being in a very positive world. It's a very good song. And there's a lot of songs like that by him and others. So I exposed my son to that stuff, and there's swearing in it. So to him, he's like, well, I can listen to this then. But it's just a guy going, bitches and bitches and that and bitches and, and like you said, bag it up and bag it up and bag it up. Yeah. And now there's a sound that's biting on other people's sound, and then they do that too. So I just told him, look, I don't care if they're swearing in it. That's not the issue. Because he goes, well, it's the clean version. I'm like, yeah, but it's garbage. Like, that particular song is garbage because it says nothing. And the only thing it does say is kind of not cool. So, they could be talking about, bananas or carrots.
B-A-N-A-N-A-A.
Yeah, there's a song like that.
B-A-N-A-N-A-A.
Who is that who does that song? But yeah, or they could be talking about carrots. I think I said to him, they could talk about carrots with, this motherfucking carrot, they could be swearing about that.
Yeah.
And that's fine as long as it's they could be talking about the if it was interesting about the life of a carrot or something, and they could swear all they want.
Learn something.
I wouldn't care if they swore. That's not the swearing. It's the fact
swearing
that's asinine.
The swearing is me. I don't like swearing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
That's funny. You do it in your art.
Well, I know, because I do. That is an adult situation.
Yes.
In a club. I believe it's like salt and pepper. It's we use it where you need it, and you do that. Like one time, remember Napster?
Yeah, yeah.
My son would pick songs, he'd put them on Napster to download on the computer. We only had one. I did not allow. You have to sit in this room to use the computer.
Yeah.
So he would pick the songs and they would download. And the next morning I would go through the songs and say, you can't have that one, can't have that one, can't have that one, can't have why? Can't have that one. Don't. So I would pick and choose because of lyrics or swearing. So one time we're talking about how I don't like cussing in front of kids. I just don't. I've never been big on it.
Yeah, it's
and I go, I don't cuss in front of my kid. I go, matter of fact, one time I think I've only dropped the F word once, and my son goes, no, twice.
Oh, really?
I go, what? He goes, twice. I go, what? This time? He goes, yeah, and the time you wrecked the car. I go, oh, you're right.
He
remembers 2 times.
Yeah.
2 times.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think that's.
Did you say
we should be able to
like as you wrecked it, or did you say that effing?
No, I dropped it. I hit ice. I hit ice, spun, and slid into the wall on the freeway.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just the immediate was the
F
word. No,
yeah.
Then he was in the back seat, little kid in the back. Yeah. And so that was it. But he remembered. That's what. They remember.
I've used it maybe 5 or 6 times with my son in punctuation. If I'm really, his behavior's off the charts. I don't want to make physical contact with him, in a way that's like really gnarly. And so how do I break him out of this cycle he's in of whatever?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that. Sometimes I'll use the F word or say, shit or something. I'll just come right at him. This bullshit you're doing or whatever.
Yeah.
He'll be like, whoa. And he'll say, chill, Dad.
Yeah.
Because he knows we're there.
Yeah. Maybe because my parents never did it. I wasn't around my grandparents. And
no, I have the same aversion. I understand it.
I just think, especially, I've been in Disneyland, line at Disneyland, and have people behind me.
It's
just
ugly,
like,
huh?
You hear them like, this motherfucker, some bitch, I was about to hit him, punch him in the cock. And then they're like, there's kids.
Sounds ignorant.
There's kids right here.
Sounds super ignorant. Too. We taught our son that, look, you can swear. It's language. Use it. I mean, when you're an adult. But as a kid, you have to learn a way of not doing that, because if it's in the foundation of how you speak, it sounds ignorant. And you're not ignorant. You're not going to be ignorant.
And then people will try to push these things on you. A survey said that people that cuss are smarter people. Have you seen that? There's a thing on the internet. If you haven't seen it, Google.
There's a lot of
There's a study that says people that cuss are generally smarter people. And I go, okay, whatever.
They're also generally dumber. There's both, right? That cuss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't find out another word to do that.
I bet you could make an argument that people who who chew gum are smarter than people who don't. And I bet you could find an argument, you know what I mean? You can find statistics showing that people who don't chew gum are smarter than people who do.
Statistics can always be manipulated.
For sure,
They
man.
always. Like there was a thing the other day that I just read about people that voted for Trump being, a certain mindset or whatever, was because the sociologist went back and studied some of the polls, and they were guided questions. They didn't give you both sides.
Right.
Do you think Trump is this, or do you think he's that?
Right.
Well, both of them were bad.
Yeah.
Both choices were bad.
Yeah.
And that's what, you can make your poll do whatever you want it. Like I do it every once in a while on Twitter. I'll go, do you think this? Yes, because I'm American. No, because I hate everything America stands for, and I wish we were a communist country.
You give them no out.
You know what I mean? You can make polls do that,
Yeah. I think it's absolutes like we talked about. It's definitely, that's the problem, is absolutes.
Yeah.
Not to say gray areas. Like we the first night we hung out, we talked a lot about gray areas and how dangerous that is, that you don't have a right or a wrong and da-da-da. But I believe that we don't have all the information. It's much like, the what was it? The Catholic Crusades. The definitive nature of religion at that time was so literal that they were willing to just kill people around them on the regular to uphold the word of God.
Yeah.
And that clearly wasn't the word of God, but they were operating in total absolutes. So yeah, it created human conflict in a horrible way that history still abhors. And here we are doing it again.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if you don't have all the information, 'cause you can't, then you need to have a discourse about what that information is. And I think that's where we're at.
Well, you need to be open for information.
Right, that's
you
what I
need
mean.
And I'm not talking about open-minded. I that drives me crazy. But
Not
you're just not
necessarily.
open-minded. If you're open-minded, that means you can't hold anything in.
Well, now you're making another absolute judgment about me, right?
Yeah, you're not open-minded.
Yeah.
Well, no, you need to be well-rounded.
Right. Just be
take in
aware.
both sides. If you hear something, look up the other. Just look up the other side.
Yeah, you can't say that because my opinion is that people shouldn't wear yellow shirts that I'm not open-minded. Maybe I've done some research on this, and people who wear yellow shirts murder a lot of people.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just not.
Maybe that is a fact. That
Maybe
I just
that's a
haven't
real
read it yet.
thing. Yeah. Or maybe I have, and maybe that's why I believe that. It doesn't make me not open-minded. It just, I have an informed decision.
Well,
Dangerous.
I'm a person that will listen to both sides too. Like it used to drive my ex-wife crazy because when I lived in L.A., I would listen to conservative radio and Air America.
Yeah.
That because I wanted to hear
Art Bell and
yeah, I want to hear. What do they say and what do they say?
I want to see a cage
wanna
match.
see that-
Art Bell and Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah. I want to, and she's like, "Why do you listen to that? You don't, drives me crazy because I want both sides.
Yeah.
If you only hear one side, that's almost brainwashed.
That's what's going on. Yeah.
So I've always liked, or if I read something, I will Google and just go, oh, look, here's an article about it I haven't seen. You know what I mean?
Is there anything right now that, like, with your media, as exposed as you are and all the stuff you're doing, is there anything right now, like, what's the hottest thing, or the biggest thing right now that you're dealing with, as far as like,
Space Force.
Is that it?
Space Force.
What does that mean to you?
Trump wants to.
I know. I've looked into it a little bit.
It's so funny that people are attacking him.
It sounds silly, but it's actually all it is an extension of the Air Force.
Yeah.
To control
we already have
satellites.
the Air Force. Air Force is in space.
Air Force. Yeah.
It's two different words.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's sort of semantics, because aren't they just saying we need to control the satellite warfare that's about to happen?
Yeah,
we
this
need
is a possibility.
We need
it's
to
the
be
same thing as
involved
the
in it.
Navy and the Marines.
Yeah,
Marines are part of they're part of the Navy.
Yeah,
that's the same. It's that part of the growing. Maybe when somebody said NASA, oh Christ, why do we need to go to space?
we're not going to space. We need to control our satellites,
right?
So that they're not taken out.
Don't just be so close-minded that because you don't like Trump, you think it's a horrible idea.
Yeah, I can equally say I do not like Trump as a person. There's the things I don't like about him that I think I wouldn't want to be in a room with a person who does these things because of egomania or whatever is happening, the decision making. I don't like him, but it doesn't pollute the fact that yeah, man, when I look at the world, satellites are vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's what runs our whole world.
I had an idiot on one of my my posts was like, because I'd posted about, I think it's a great idea to protect our satellites, because you knock out a satellite, you knock out our banking, you knock out our communications, you knock out, and that's total chaos.
You can't call your mom.
You're an idiot. That's not how the internet works.
What?
That's what, yeah.
That's exactly
I'm the idiot.
how the
That's
internet
exactly
works.
how
the
it
internet
works.
works. Yeah.
Knock out a satellite. Because I wrote, hey, how do you think you just posted this from your cell phone or your Wi-Fi laptop?
Did you walk it over to my house?
Right.
Are you outside?
Yeah.
You on my Wi-Fi, weirdo?
Yeah.
And even then,
You see what I'm saying?
even if you're on my Wi-Fi,
If
you
you're
did
on my
it.
Wi-Fi, that is wrong.
You still did it.
You're a stealing liberal.
Well, no, you could still be in the room with me and use that satellite.
Right.
Yeah, you and I could communicate through that satellite, facing each other.
Right. So that's the arguments that people want to say because you don't like Trump. Okay, fine. That is not a bad idea. We need to protect. We're just one more layer out. Or maybe, how about this? We're not privileged to every information that they know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Has there word been leaked that, somebody else has already got ahead of us in this? Kind of like the old days. We're beating Russia to the moon. That we're doing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe, why do we need space? Do we have to protect?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We just have to be engaged in all parts of it. Yeah, especially the way the world is now, which, oh, man. Do you have, I feel like we can't go too much longer, right? Where are we at? I don't know. Who cares?
What are we? I don't even know.
Probably 3 hours. Or 2. Wait, when do we start? 3?
3:30, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, then we're not that long. So do you feel like the world like we're living in, do you feel empathy for, like I watch stuff, I research, I don't just watch stuff. I research what's going on in other countries, and I feel like we're getting a further and further divide between how we live and how other countries live. And I don't feel guilt because I know that's wrong to feel guilt about that. I don't think it makes any difference to feel guilt, but I do feel, I feel almost a inner call to action to actually engage with it and do something if I care, that there are people in this world that through no fault of their own, and many, many, many more people than aren't, they're living just horrible, scratched out existence like animals because of the rest of us that are actually living with a high amount of resources. So if that's the case, do you believe in that imbalance? And do you
I see where you're going with that.
I mean, do you believe there's an imbalance in resources in the world, and like we are actually consuming a large amount of them? Not that it's about consumption, but that it's more like our lifestyle is at this level and these other people are living in bombed out buildings.
Yeah, but
they're paying the price for conflicts that we're in.
Yeah, but that's their remember the old Sam Kinison bit about, see what this is? This is sand. You know what this is going to be in 100 years? Sand!
Yeah.
Move where the food is!
Oh, right.
You know, that's sort of like, you guys keep voting in your bad, they have leaders. Any country has leaders. Yeah. So you're getting, say, maybe we need to get rid of the leaders that we have. Look what the guys that they've
how
got.
hard is it to get organized enough for 8 people to create a poker game? Like, how are you
going to meet on Tuesday? How about Wednesday? Thursday's better for me.
It's not going to happen, right? Yeah, 3 times out of 10, it's you're just not even going to show up.
Yeah.
The other 4 times or another 4 times, they're only 2 are going to be there.
Okay.
Occasionally you have a poker game.
Well, how about this? Because you're talking about, you see these people living horribly like
No,
this.
I'm talking about little kids living in rocks.
Yes, I'm saying.
Yeah.
But hold on just a second. You see this. You see the kids living in rocks, and you think, why don't we do something? So they can't get together to beat their leaders. So we go, hey, let's go over there and make this a better place. Then you're accused of, why are you trying to push democracy on other people?
Well, in some cases they are. Yeah,
do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we're just trying to help make this a better place.
Or are we?
Or
here's that's a good point, because you can't do it on, like, you and I can't go over there and go like, we're going to go help these Syrian people. We can't do that.
You can't do that.
You and I can't.
It'd be nice if
how much money do you have? How much money do I have? How many
do
resources? We just can't go do that on our own.
Right.
We can't even bring our neighborhoods.
I put a new window in that thing for you. But.
Yeah, but we can't put a sign up at our neighborhood association pool and say, hey guys, we're all going to go to Syria and help out. Even if we did that, it wouldn't make an impact at all. Not even move the needle.
No.
What would it take? Here's what it would take. Resources. So how do we get resources? We have to find people with capital and resources. So how do we find those people? How do we get those people interested in
Are you going to push capitalism on?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, how do we find the people with capital? How do we get the people with capital and resources interested in what we think needs to happen over here in Syria, make these people live better? How do we get them interested? What's going to make them go, yeah, let's go do that?
You have to show it. You have to have that.
Why would I, if I'm the CEO of X, of the company that Rode microphones?
Yeah.
And what's going to make me want to go over there, and help you with your little cause? I got $20 million in the bank. You want me to send a couple of choppers with some food and then some resources for you and your neighborhoods to go do this? Why? Why am I gonna do that?
It would make you look like a really good company.
I'm cool. We look pretty good. So what else do I want? What else do I want?
Well, you could
money, man. So that's what I'm saying. Money. Isn't that what I'm asking?
Yeah.
So that's the issue, is that we have to, even at a government level, if we're going to go if we're going to go push democracy, quote unquote, the issue comes in because we got to take all these people that really don't give a fuck. They're living on yachts. They don't care.
Well, take over, and then you start like Kentucky Fried Hummus. Now you got you got your own restaurant in here, but it leaks back to.
But the issue is that these people are really only doing these things as a movement of
money.
How does
it benefit?
They're looking for a benefit to their corporation, their whatever, and so you got to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. So the people that mean to do well try to do. the public servants that try to do well create these organizations, but they don't have the resources, so they create these organizations of large conglomerates that have the resources, and then those people need to get something from that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're pushing democracy. At the same time, it's this marriage of the two parts of humanity, and it's always going to be there.
Right.
And so you can always call it ugly.
But you've always heard about the leaders of these countries that, like, we sent them all this aid and food, and then the food rotted in the warehouse because
it wasn't organized.
Because it wasn't organized to get. Or do the leaders go, we need to we're good. We keep these people like this. We're in control. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, okay, so then you get into that real sticky debate about if I know better, then how much do I keep from you while I run your life? So I'm going to now run Steve McGrew's life. You're going to put the reins in my hand, give me access to your bank account and all that stuff. Now, we have an unwritten agreement that I'm going to give you full disclosure. Like I'm going to tell you how much money you made.
Where it went, and this is how it.
Yeah, but I'm going to run your life because I'm really good at all these little P's and Q's, and then you're just going to do what you do best, and I'm going to
turn my money over to my financial man.
Yeah, and so I'm going to run your life. I'm right down to making your bed. Like I'm going to handle all this stuff for you. And how long before I go, well, this is not a written contract. He's better off not knowing these things and these things and these things. And now you know very little, but I know how this is done. So you just let me handle it.
Yeah.
And then you can extend that out over a long period and have that be roughly what we have in government today that everybody gets pissed about.
Yeah.
And really what we had back in the day where the issue with the Rockefellers and all these other people that kind of ran things is that there wasn't full disclosure, but they also felt like, and also what we tried to get away from with King George and all that, the kings and the royals and all that, they were running things based on they knew better. The populace is ignorant; they don't know.
Yeah, they're not schooled like us.
So we'll do what's best for them. Yeah. And so that's what you have happen when we go into these different, countries and we try to, quote unquote, push democracy. We're doing it in a very human way, the way we've done everything all along.
Yeah.
And so it's debatable whether or not it's right or wrong in that way.
Right.
Yeah, because you can't necessarily give a certain populace control, whoever that is, because maybe there's going to be warlords in place and that they're going to try to manipulate they're going to be corrupt.
Right. Yeah, because the absolute power
corrupts absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure. And so in all this that we've talked about, I feel like there's a Bob Dylan quote that like sums it up.
Yes.
And all these debates that you get in that keep you up at night and all this crap you get into on the internet with people just, blowing you up. You have good ideas. You're a very smart person. You don't have the same ideas as me or the same ideas as other people. But you're just putting them out there. You're not saying you're right.
No, I'm just putting them out there. A lot of times I put them out and just sit back and let them fight about it. I've had people actually say, "Have you noticed he hasn't commented in this whole thread?"
Right.
800 replies.
So the difference is they're saying they're right, right?
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, I just put it out there.
Here's the quote. In a soldier stance, I aim my hand at the mongrel dogs who teach, fearing not I'd become my enemy in the instant that I preach. Yeah, That's the one.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. That's the issue.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah. Everything we talked about.
Dylan around.
Yeah, man. Brought it home, baby.
Wow.
Should we end on that?
Well,
maybe
maybe we should. It all comes down to this. Back it up, back it up.
Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. All right, should we wrap it?
Let's wrap it up.
You got dates?
I've got dates, but they're all cruise dates.
Where do you find them?
Here's what I tell everybody. When I do radio shows, I always go, Google Steve McGrew, and you'll find everything.
Perfect. Yeah.
I always say that. Google Steve McGrew. Dates come up, Twitter comes up, Facebook, YouTube videos, everything. So always just Google Steve McGrew.
Okay.
And how do they find you? Here on the Remasculate podcast, my fans would like to know By the way, what do you call your podcast?
What is this?
Which one is this?
Yeah. I think it's just Barefoot Comedy or World of Friends. It'll be,
We're
but it's all
cross-promoting.
available always on collinlive.com.
Okay, so you actually put yours on the website. Mine is hosted on My podcast is hosted on Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes.
Yeah,
but I've never put
mine.
it on. I've never find
it
at my webpage.
I have a WordPress.org site that that it's called Collins Pods, but it's available at Collin Live. That's the central site, collinlive.com.
Nice.
And so on collinlive.com, there's a podcast link, and then on that you go to the page, and then on the page you'll be on the. One of those. I don't know which one it'll be on. Yeah. I think I'm doing a Collin Live one now that I'm going to put up, but you'll see it on there on Collin Live.
Well, Collin Moulton, thanks for doing Remasculate Podcast. I appreciate that.
Steve McGrew, thanks for doing unnamed new podcast that I'm going to readapt from World of Friends.
Yeah, and as I say every time when I end my podcast, God bless America. Go listen to some Oak Ridge Boys.
All right.
I bid you adieu.
Back that up. Back it up. Okay, that was us, me and Steve McGrew, Collin Moulton, Steve McGrew, somewhere in the Caribbean, in the middle of nowhere, just agreeing to disagree and agreeing to agree and disagreeing about disagreeing. If we can do it, you can do it. Let's come back to the middle for the sake of our darn children, for God's sake. The world's crazy, and it's all of us that are engaging with it that are either going to make it crazier or balance it back out. So don't be afraid to engage with it, man, but definitely try to be open to other people. Man, that was fun. What a great conversation.
Yes, what Collin said. Let's agree to disagree, and let's all come back to the middle. That was fun. We had fun. We talked about stuff. We didn't fight. It was great. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, share it with all your friends, because this is the only way that the podcast can grow. And I need you people to help me make it grow. Let's grow. I need your feedback too. I'd love to have feedback about the podcast, what you like, what you don't like, what you want more of, what you'd like less of. Just tell me all about it. Tell me all about it, okay? All right, guys. So until next time, God bless America. Go listen to some Oak Ridge Boys. I bid you adieu.
In the basement of the mud flap house, flapping and poo, and they're under with grains and news, and poo licks herself, and flap contemplates manly things. He thinks about guns and trucks and Stooges 3, men and boys, and that doesn't sound right. He thinks about boobs and bacon and power tools. Come with me, let's remasculate. Oh, won't you come with me and remasculate?
Aloha!